A suspect was interrogated by 5 officers who, with their guns drawn, stood over him as he lay handcuffed on the ground, semi-conscious from a gunshot wound he had received earlier, a wound that was not inflicted by the officers. The officers did not threaten to shoot the suspect if he failed to confess. Rather, they simply pointed the guns at him. Assuming the suspect confessed, would his confession be considered involuntary under the 14th Amendment? Two questions need to be answered. Number 1, did the police officers subject the suspect to coercive conduct? Number 2, did the coercive conduct result in the suspect making an involuntary statement? Only if both questions are answered yes will the confession be declared involuntarily given and be suppressed. Surprisingly, McCall v. Dutton, the decision on which this example is based, stated that there was no evidence that the officers used their weapons in any way to force a confession out of the petitioner. The court reasoned that the defendant offered a self-initiated confession and that police conduct was passive. This was a controversial decision, to say the least, and it does anything but clarify what constitutes coercive conduct. Had the officers resorted to threats or violence, the confession would have been involuntary. It just makes note that the fact that the officers' guns were drawn does not mean that they were using them to achieve the purpose of receiving a confession.